hello everybody, or if there's anybody out there yet. Just letting you know I'm not going to look at the comments very much because I am eminently distractible. And but please write in anything to do with daily practice, anything that you really love to do. Give us some ideas because the comments will stay there even if you comment afterwards. Hi Sam. So I'll just give it a couple more minutes, but really we're not expecting everybody to be here. We're just gonna do it and see what happens. That's my kitty. All right. So the first thing I'm going to say, there's 3 things I'm going to say where we talk, before we talk about actual things you can have in your daily practice is 1, no one can tell you how to druid. Thanks very much to Frithcast, who always says nobody can tell you how to heathen. Nobody can tell you how to druid. These are just suggestions. Everybody is different. You do what works for you. So number 2, daily does not mean daily. We're not talking about here about making another rod for your back or another thing to beat yourself up about. Hi, Ashley. The main thing is that you instigate something that you do most days. And if there's a bad day or a bad week or something's happening in your routine that's making it too hard, don't feel like you have to go out there and do it if you're not in the right place. Hi, Jan. Maybe just walk outside and just look at the sky, or have a cup of tea, you know, do something else, do whatever fits into your day. So that leads on to my 3rd thing that I want to talk to you about to start with, which is some people like to do exactly the same thing every day with their daily practice. So they have a routine, they say the same things, they make the same movements, they may meditate for the same amount of time and so on. That is not me, and anybody who's on here who knows me will understand why that is not me. I like to do something different every day. Sometimes I get a thing that I like to do and I will show you one of them later. And I love it and I use it a lot because it really works well for me. But some days I don't. Some days I will do something different. And I might forget about it for a week, or sometimes I forget about things forever and then maybe a few years later they come back to me. So this is the thing. Some people find a lot of depth in doing the same thing every day, and it helps them to have that response, which is almost like with meditation, we call it the relaxation response, where you do that same thing and that gets you into the right state and that makes it easier for you. So we often have a routine before we settle down to meditate. You can do the same thing. If you want to start your day with the same thing and that works for you, that's great. The only thing I will say is, if it stops being magic for you, if it starts to become rote and you're not actually getting anything out of it, then change it. That's all I will say. So if we look at what my practice on a daily basis would be, is I would have a morning practice, but not every day, and sometimes I'm really good about it and sometimes I'm really bad about it. Generally, there will be a mixture of these things in my morning practice. So I'm polytheistic, so there may be offerings to either a god or some gods. Okay. That could be mead for the goddess Bridget. She likes me to take her yogurt, so I will give her some yogurt. There's, I know not everybody is polytheistic or in fact believes in gods at all, but you might like to do an offering to the lamb whites of your land, or to the spirits of place, or to the ancestors of place, or to your ancestors. If you always had a cup of tea with your grandma, give your grandma a cup of tea. These sorts of things work really well. You can talk to the traditional owners of the land and just mention your respect for them. What else? I like to talk to the spirits of place and say, may we be friends. That's one that I always like to do. And I like to give them water, especially in such a dry place as Western Australia. So there's offerings that you can do. Not every day, though. Sometimes I'll just say thank you, or I mention one god, or all different things. So you can add a song. So You could sing a David Bard song. You can make up your own song. I quite like to use mantras. There's a Native American Cherokee greeting for the morning that I love to do, which is okay to do as long as I'm not, you know, teaching it to other people like I'm an expert. It's your little home practice. You can do whatever floats your boat. There's the beautiful little Arwen song that Adrienne and Casey did for us at the assembly last year, which I often like to sing without the verses because I can't remember them, but that's the one that goes, the Arwen I sing from the deep I bring it, the Arwen I sing from the deep I bring it, that one. So I might feel like singing some days and some days I don't. I like to always add some sort of observation. So that's just taking the time to stop and look around and watch the birds and look at the sky and the trees. I also like to try to change what I'm seeing and experiencing. I might try to see everything as spirit. I might try to see everything as faith. And if you do that, it can really change how you are perceiving your world and your connection to everything around it. If suddenly everything's become sort of transparent and empty with just little atoms in it, you see that everything is like that, and that's how I really enjoy doing that one. It's nice to add a movement of some sort, like some people will do what's it called, the salute, the, you know, like a yoga practice or something, like saluting the sun or something. And there are a few sort of ones that Druid people like to do. There's one that I really like, which is I do often do, which is and I'm very sorry to whoever I first got it off because it was on the internet and I can't remember who it was, and I've been doing it for such a long time and I can't find it. So, but it's it's looking at the 4 directions, and we look at the elements in the 4 directions, and we look at the creatures and the different qualities that come from the 4 directions. And every single day it would be different, but I do the actions. So I will face east. I'm not going to do it because I'll disappear, but I face the east, and for each symbol, for each direction, there's some different hand action to do. So for the east, because it's air, I do that as if I've like kind of got my fingers out into the air, and I will say, elements of the air, today may I use communication really well, may I use my intellect well as an author, that's really important, that I'm communicating well and thinking well. I might want a bit of wit for some reason, or whatever it might be that's to do with the East inspiration today. Then I do this, and I know that's not necessarily a Druid movement, but it's one of those actions that you can feel that it has an effect on your body to do that action. So then I will turn to the north, and I will use their symbol, and I will imagine fire on the palms of my hands, and I will say elements of the north, and I might call in the animals like the great kangaroo, and I will say, today may I have much passion and creativity and energy and, you know, rock my sexuality and all that sort of stuff. So then I go to the west, and I'm looking at emotions and water, and the symbol there is the cupped hands. And that just, you know, you might want to mention, you know, like when I'm looking west, I might want to mention Bridget and talk about, you know, the concept of the well of wisdom and the cauldron and whatever else you want to do, compassion, healing, and so on. And then I go to the south, and my symbol for south is hands down to the ground like that. And I ask for strength, honesty, durability, connection to the physical, so my body, and so on. And that's something I really like to do. And every day it slightly changes. So it could be a god or goddess from each direction. It could be the creatures. It could be the qualities that I'm looking for. It's just a really nice action to do. So it's just, you could just not say anything. You can just do these actions. And then that one there is there. So that one I love to do. So at some point, I like to talk about being the best Druid I can be. What does that look like for you? For me, it looks like joy and calm at the same time, compassion without like getting drawn down into the vortex of trying to fix things for other people, wisdom, and so on. So I might just say, you know, to myself or to the universe or to a god, today may I be the best druid I can be, and what does that look like today? And if I know it's going to be a hard day and I'm going to need a certain sort of quality, then I might ask for a bit extra of that. I love to chant Awans, but I also love to chant Oms and just that I like. So it could be a rune, perhaps one that is connected to a certain god, or something like that. So I always like to then have a quiet moment of check-in with myself and see where I actually am mentally, physically, and so on. So on any particular day, it could be very short. Wander outside, look at the sky, and I remember a quote that says, look up to the sky to be happy. So I try to do that in my morning practice. There could be offerings, there could be songs, there could be Awans, there could be chanting. There's usually some sort of movement. The one I forgot about is the light body exercise. And most people are aware of the usual OBOD light body exercise, so I won't do that one. But there's one that I learned from T. Thorne Coyle, which I really love. So I'm just gonna do that one. So if you feel like just closing your eyes with me, you can. Otherwise, just watch. So what she had you do is you feel into your center, and you feel where you feel that your center of your body is, where your core is, when you're feeling balanced. And you feel into there, and then you breathe, and you breathe, and you feel that warmth and that light actually coming out to fill your whole body as you breathe in. So you feel up to your head, you feel down to your feet. It's kind of feeling right down to your fingers and your toes, inside your body. So you feel that light and warmth and the glow and the relaxation. And as you breathe out, you just let that light come back down to your core. So, and back up to your core. So it's kind of pulling back into the center of your body. And then with the next breath, you breathe out, and you're breathing out to your light body. So you're breathing out away from your body to that part of you that's kind of radiating out. So some people might call it their aura. And you breathe out to that area. So you feel that expanding out beyond the confines of your skin to that area that when you connect to another person, you can kind of feel theirs. You can feel yours touching theirs. So you breathe out to there, and then you breathe back down to your center. And with the third breath, you breathe right out. You breathe out into your connection with the whole universe. So you're breathing, your light body is now connecting out, 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 out to everything. And then you breathe back down to your core. Then you breathe back out to your light body, and back down to your core, and back out to your body, and back down to your core. And then you just sit for a minute and you see how that feels. And to me, I always feel more centered then. And once I'm very aware of that center, as I go about my day, I can actually kind of come back to that point and center myself again more easily because I've had that awareness. So anyway, that's one that I like to do. So we're talking about daily practice here. So there's not just a morning practice. And if you're a mum or you've got a job that starts early, don't feel like you have to get up earlier or, I don't know, tie the kids to a chair or something while you try and go and do these things. Pick the time of day that suits you, that suits your physiology, that suits your lifestyle. Pick a time when you can actually spend that little bit of time connecting, or if it's just a really busy life, just go outside and look at the sky. Some of the other things that I try to do every day so that I'm living my Druidry as an orthopraxy, which is what this is. It's not an orthodoxy. We're not just being told what to believe and going to church on Sunday. We're living our Druidry because that's how it benefits us the most. Some of the things I like to do during the day, you can make a cup of tea and do some divination. You can study divination, you can study the tarot cards or an oracle or the runes or whichever calls to you the best. You can take a cup of tea outdoors or to the window and just sit. And it is surprising how much calm you can bring into your life and how much Druidry you can bring into your life with just that 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can go for a connected walk, which means not listening to things, not looking at your phone, trying to actually see where you are. Divinatory walks are really fun, where you set out with a question in mind and you look for signs. That's a really good way to keep you connected. creativity. So whatever type of creativity in your life, whether it be cooking or knitting or artwork or music, whatever it is that actually gives you that flow of Arwen and makes you lose the sense of time. Because if you've lost the sense of time, now you're actually in a really good space to make you happier and to make you feel more druidy in your day-to-day life. Another one is daily chores. So every time I clean the floor, I think about what I'm cleaning. I'm doing magic by doing that. If I sweep towards my fireplace because it's the heart of my home, and so on. So even though it's something you do every day and you could be grumpy about it, or you can try to see it as all part of the magic that you make in creating a wonderful and comfortable home for yourself and the people you live with. I like to, if I can, wander outside and just look at the sky at bedtime. It might be the time you do most of your daily practice. It all depends, but I'm a pretty early to bed kind of person. So I wander out. If I can, I look at the sky, I look at the trees, I listen to the birds and the other noises outside, and then I go to bed. So I hope you found that all very interesting. You have to remember, you want your daily practice to reflect and enrich your practice and your life. So don't make a chore of it. Don't do it until you're bored with it. Don't feel like, oh, I have to go outside and do my daily practice or whatever. Have fun with it and look for the things that bring you that sense of connection and magic, and do more of those things, okay? We do things like daily practice just like we do creativity, and some days you pick up the guitar or you start to write and there's not much magic happening, but you're there, you're showing up, and you're giving it the opportunity to happen. Well, it's the same thing with daily practice. There'll be times when you're struck with so much magic or emotion and it's just amazing. And then the next day it might not be like that, but you're there and you're making that opportunity for that sense of deep connection and love and magic that's part of what being a druid is. So keep at it and just do it the way it suits you. So yes, and please make comments about things that you like to do. Like Lon's written, good ideas. I try to do mindful breathing and yoga outside every morning when the weather is good. I try to do a walk in national parks and other natural spaces every weekend too, to help me connect with Mother Earth. Yes, that's beautiful. So I didn't mention meditation. Some people meditate every day. I can't say that I do. Probably twice a week I will either wander out to see a tree, or I will do the tea with a druid and things like that. I do yoga once a week, but daily practice can be all different things. It's about how we keep our mind connected to that thing that we do. So all right, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to go now. Thanks everybody. Thanks for commenting, Lon.